Hello, my name is Barbara Sweetwine, and the name of my presentation is called Stress and Mindset. Here are my references. 3 works by the name of The Role of Stress Mindset in Shaping Cognitive, Emotional, and Physiological Responses to Challenging and Threatening Stress, Optimizing Stress Responses with Reappraisal and Mindset Interventions, an integrated model, and a documentary from YouTube called Stress Portrait of a Killer. The first work that I'm going to talk about is called Optimizing Stress Responses with Reappraisal and Mindset Interventions, an integrated model. The researchers from this article aim to provide evidence that support the notion that acute stress can promote coping strategies, boost performance levels, and create overall beneficial outcomes considering the biopsychosocial model. It was important for the researchers to highlight that this problem, it was important for the researchers to highlight that it is problematic that the most common theme of stress in society is that stress is bad and it should be eliminated. The researchers provided a solution for that problem because they are saying that stress should not be eliminated because stress allows people to um, have stronger resilience. For instance, when stress is reappraised from threatening to challenging, beneficial outcomes are presented. A threatening, stressful situation is considered a situation where a person feels like they do not have the personal resources or any resources at all to um, overcome the stress. However, if you reappraise that stressful situation into a challenging situation, it becomes a challenge that can be overcome. For example, they also provide that a person's mindset about stress is pivotal in the beneficial outcomes. The two mindsets that are discussed in this article are called enhancing and debilitating. An enhancing mindset is a mindset where a person's general outcome or their general outlook on stress is that stress can be practically like a teacher or a lesson instead of the debilitating mindset that says stress in general is one that causes pain and distress. Those are the two types of mindsets that were discussed in this article, along with the um, appraisals threatening and challenging. So, reappraisal of acute stress and the mindset theory have been studied independently, but the researchers of this article, they want to propose an integration of the two forms of looking at stress as a new model. They feel that integrating reappraisal and mindset theory may provide stronger beneficial outcomes when encountering acute stressful situations. And in the following work that I'm presenting, The Role of Stress in Mindset, Shaping Cognitive, Emotional, and Physiological Responses to Challenging and Threatening Stress, the main takeaway from this article is how important a person's overall mindset is about stress um, when looked at through the frames of the biopsychosocial model. They pinpoint the importance of mindset to solve some problems that may arise with reappraisal alone. They're basically saying that if you are only, changing your outlook on a stressful situation from threatening to challenging, that alone may not be what you need to get the best benefits. For example, from the article, an example that they provided is facing an unpredictable stressor, such as a pop quiz in a difficult class or receiving an unexpected cardiac related health diagnosis. They're saying that you can't really reappraise those situations differently because there just basically isn't enough time and there's pretty much nothing you could do about those situations. But what they're saying is that if you have an enhancing mindset versus a debilitating mindset, that pop quiz and that cardiac diagnosis that you receive, you can have beneficial outcomes if you look at these situations as lessons. If you look at these situations as teaching moments that you could gain something from. So this article is looking at the mindset, the enhancing mindset, as um, being able to provide an extra boost of potential outcomes rather than reappraisal alone. So in the documentary, stress was presented with negative outcomes, which may seem contradictory to the previous mentioned research because I talked about the benefits that comes with acute stress. However, it's not really a contradiction because this documentary is looking at chronic stress on the biopsychosocial aspect of life. The major findings of this research that was depicted in the documentary is that stress is correlated to the hierarchy of society. It was found that the lower you are on the hierarchy of society, the more stress you endure. Um, that what they found is that that happens because a person on the lower end of hierarchy, they don't have as much control. And without that control, without feeling like you have control over your life, it comes with chronic stress. With long-term stress, a person has a lower immune function, brain function, and overall worse health outcomes. But what was important about this finding is that perspective also played a role. Although a person may be on the lower end of society, their perspective of control in their life made a big difference. For example, if you are a person in the hierarchy of life that, say, is um, on Medi-Cal, receiving food stamps, and living in low income housing, yes, you're on the lower end of society, but if you participate in, let's say, nonprofit organizations where you're helping others, or if you're like the coach of a baseball team, you have some sort of control in that area of life. So that perspective can um, help you have a better outcomes in your health because you have the perspective that although you're on the lower end of society, you have some control. So let's see. If a person feels that they have had a substantial amount of control in their life, their overall biopsychosocial outcome is considerably more positive, which means that you're not doing so bad if you have a good perspective of control in your life. So, similarities and dissimilarities. The first two works exemplify positive outcomes from acute stress, and the documentary examined negative outcomes of chronic stress. Together, these works provide a well-rounded examination of stress and its outcomes. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Please have a good night.